Welcome to part 2 in my Ranking All Doogee Rugged Smartphones series. Now, if you missed part 1, check the description for a link so you can see the worst rugged phones that Doogee has made that ranked in the F and E tiers. And now in this video, we are moving on to the D tier. Now, these are not necessarily really bad phones, they're just towards the bottom end of the spectrum in terms of their specs. Now, some of these phones actually have some really cool features that you won't see even in Doogee's highest ranked phones. There's even a couple night vision phones in the D tier, there's a couple 5G phones, and one phone that Doogee designed to be, quote, the coolest phone that you have ever seen. Now, all of these phones are IP68 and IP69K, and they are also military standard 810G. And some are even military standard 810H for increased durability, and I will tell you which ones they are during the video. Check the description below for links to each of these phones to learn more information or to purchase one, and I will also include links to AliExpress and eBay where you might be able to get them for much cheaper than the official prices. Now let's get into the video. 9 phones made it into the D tier, starting with the Doogee S59. Released in January 2021, the Doogee S59's main selling points are its large 10,050 mAh battery that gives you 47 hours of calling, and its super loud speakers that go up to 100 decibels. It's got a lower performing octa-core Helio A25 chipset, a 5.71-inch HD Plus water drop screen running at 720 by 1520 resolution. It's got quad rear cameras with a 16 megapixel main. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes internal storage that can be expanded up to 256 gigabytes. The S59 costs $185 on Doogee's website, or you can get it for as low as $130 on AliExpress. Next up, we have the S59 Pro. Now, this has the same main specs as the S59, but it comes with a higher 128 gigabytes of internal storage, and technically it's got a slightly higher performing processor in terms of clock speed. But overall, the benchmarks for the S59 Pro's Helio P22 processor are actually slightly lower than the S59's Helio A25 processor, all things considered. Now, the S59 Pro costs $217 on Doogee's website and $180 on AliExpress, and again, you can check the description for some links. Next up, we've got the 2 night vision phones that made it into the D tier. The first night vision phone in the D tier is the Doogee S61. Released in July 2022, Doogee designed this night vision phone to be stylish and break the routine look of standard rugged phones. It is designed to fit comfortably in the palm of your hand, and you can remove the back panel to swap it out with different designs, including a see-through design and a polished wood design. The dual camera on the back also has a unique vertical design that looks pretty cool. This is also one of the handful of Doogee phones that are the higher rated military standard 810H for even more durability. Now, it does have a lower performing Helio G35 chipset that Doogee calls an ultra gaming processor. It's got a 6-inch screen running at 720 by 1440 resolution. It's got double rear cameras with a 20 megapixel main plus a 20 megapixel night vision camera. It's got a 5,180 mAh battery. It's got 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of internal storage that can be expanded up to 512 gigabytes. The S61 costs $200 on Amazon and as low as $140 on AliExpress. Click the link in the description below to check it out. Now, before I show you the next phone, make sure to like this video if you have enjoyed it so far, and subscribe if you're new to the channel so you don't miss more great rugged smartphone videos just like this that you will not see anywhere else. So next up, we've got the S61 Pro. This is the other night vision rugged smartphone in the D tier. It was also released in July 2022, and it's got the same main specs as the S61, but instead of a 20 megapixel rear camera, it's got a 40 megapixel main camera. It costs $220 on Amazon and as low as $163 on AliExpress. Now keep watching to see the 2 5G phones that are coming up as well. And next up, we've got the S86. Released in February 2021, there's not really much special about this one except for its super loud 100 decibel speakers. Its octa-core Helio P60 is the highest performing chipset that we have seen so far in these videos, but it's still not really all that great. It's got a 6.1 inch screen running at 720 by 1560 resolution. It's got quad rear cameras with a 16 megapixel main. It's got an 8500 mAh battery, 6 GB of RAM, and 128 GB of internal storage that can be expanded up to 256 GB. You can get the S86 for $225 on Doogee's website. Next up is the S88 Pro. Released in June 2020, this is the oldest rugged phone from Doogee that is still available. Doogee designed this phone to be, quote, the coolest phone that you have ever seen. Now, the main selling points are the LED lights on the back, designed to look like Iron Man's eyes lighting up, and its giant 10,000 mAh battery that gives you 3 to 5 days on normal use, and it includes 10-watt wireless charging and 5-watt wireless reverse charging. It's got a Helio P70 chipset, which is about middle of the road performance-wise compared to all the other processors in this video. A 6.3 inch FHD Plus water drop screen running at 1080 by 2340 resolution. It's got triple rear cameras with a 21 megapixel main. It's got 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage that can be expanded up to 256 GB. Now, the S88 Pro costs $273 and you can get it on Doogee's website, link in the description. Next up is the S97 Pro. Released in June 2021, this phone's main selling point is that it's the world's first rugged phone with a professional 40-meter laser rangefinder. Its octa-core Helio G95 is the third best processor of all Doogee rugged phones. It's got a large 6.39 inch screen running at 720 by 1560 resolution. It's got quad rear cameras with a 48 megapixel main, a nice 8500 mAh battery, 8 GB of RAM, and 128 GB of internal storage that can be expanded up to 256 GB. The S97 Pro costs $310 on Doogee's website, but you can get it for $250 or less on AliExpress. Now, the last two phones in the D tier are both 5G. First up is the Doogee V10. Released August 2021, the V10's main selling points are its high-performance dual 5G octa-core Dimensity 700 chipset, its 33-watt fast charging, and its forehead thermometer. It's got a nice 6.39 inch screen running at 720 by 1560 resolution. It's got triple rear cameras with a 48 megapixel main, an 8500 mAh battery, 8 GB of RAM, and 128 GB of internal storage, but that is not expandable. The V10 costs $353 on Doogee's website or just $280 on AliExpress. And now for the final phone in the D tier, it's the Doogee V11. The 5G V11 was released in July 2022, and it has the same main specs as the V10, except the V11 has a 65-watt fast charge instead of 33-watt fast charge. The V11 costs $353 on Doogee's website or $260 on AliExpress. So what do you think of the phones that made it into the D tier from Doogee? Let me know in the comments below. Please share this video if you found it valuable, then click here to see part 3 in this series of ranking all Doogee's rugged phones, and I will see you in the next video.